Hey, it's Devin, and this is the Youngbloods. What is going on, everybody? Hope everybody's having a good evening. Hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody's just happy, to be honest. I mean, it's been definitely been an interesting past couple of days. Had an interesting evening last night. Had some good conversations. Had some good people get online. Just all around. Everything's been good, to be honest. Had a good conversation today with somebody, and that conversation went pretty well. It was definitely interesting about something I probably can't talk about. Probably shouldn't talk about it at least. But the fact that I had this conversation today, I'll say it this way: the fact that I had this conversation today, and that it actually happened, and that people were, actually. How do I even say this? Got to say this in the right way, and the right way because I can't really talk about some things. Had a conversation today with that may put me, well, not may, it will, if everything else pans out like it should, it will put me out of the country next year. Which is kind of pretty crazy. What's going on, my friend? What's going on? I'm glad you're back. Glad it's another day, another conversation, more emails and everything else you can think of. But yeah, overall, actually good day today. I will probably share my news with the people who actually have are on Instagram, and they do the subscription stuff on there, because this is something I can share probably with them because it stays with them and them only, and not with just the general public that gets posted everywhere. So there's that. I'll create a totally separate video about this one. So, but it's kind of cool. Something exciting has happened in my life that honestly can be pretty cool. It will take me out of the country for sure. If I pass the last interview thing, then it will take me out of the country. But all that being said, it's still not set in stone. I still have some things I got to figure out, some stuff I got to deal with, and all those things. There's still lots to do, basically, is what I'm saying. So, but man, I tell you what, I like having days like this. This day started off pretty, not really rough, but it started off with my plans that changed, and my plans changed dramatically. So I couldn't do what I was planning on doing today, and so I put my efforts on other things, so I could focus on things that kind of mattered, that will actually help the podcast and things like that in the future. So there's that. That's always a good thing. So there's honestly, it's kind of cool because when you get good news, so my plans changed for the day, and then I got good news, but honestly, when you get good news, it kind of just makes your whole perspective of the day just change. It makes things a lot better. What are we talking about? We are talking about some cool stuff that's happened today, how things changed, and we're also going to talk about some crazy emails that I've gotten. More people ask me for questions, and I'm answering more questions and going that route. So that is my life. That's my job. That's what I do, and I will answer any question. If you got some questions, I'll throw them back at me, and I'll answer your questions too. Doesn't bother me. If you like to jump on the live, we can put you on the live too. Doesn't bother me. I'm easy. So yeah, there's that. So anyway, with all that being said, I guess we can go ahead and jump in on my first email. Pretty simple. This one says, "Hey Devin, lately I've been feeling like my dog is a better roommate than my girlfriend." Oh, ouch. My dog doesn't leave dishes in the sink, never argues, and is always happy to see me. I love my girlfriend, but sometimes the consistent bickering gets to me. Am I crazy in thinking my dog is better company, or is there something deeper going on here? Here's the thing: if you're having lots of arguments with your girlfriend, obviously you're living with your girlfriend. The problem is you and her are communicating completely wrong. You're not talking to each other. You're just you're not getting. And when you are communicating, you're probably, as you said, you're bickering. You're more accusatory versus actually discussing. And that's the thing. When it comes to having a conversation with somebody, Doesn't matter what's going on. Doesn't matter how much you hate the person. You could be your worst mortal enemy. Then the reality is, if you can sit down and have a conversation and talk with them and just have a simple discussion, I promise you it will work. But you have to put in the effort. It's all about the effort. That's I think it's the simple things that people always forget. So one, you're saying your dog is, so you've already come across it in the wrong way. You're saying that your dog is a better roommate than your girlfriend. Now, if she knows who this is and she thinks about the situation and she listens or she watches or whatever to my podcast and even the lives that I do and stuff like that, she's probably going to be pissed. So, by the way, if you guys don't mind, if you're on here and you're watching, just share the feed with people, let people know to come on over, because that helps my ratings go up. Not asking for any money, not asking for nothing like that, because I'm not a believer in that. If you do it, that's cool. But yeah, if you guys would share, that always makes it nice, right? So it makes it where more people come in, more people watch, and that makes the stuff go even bigger. So, and that's kind of the goal, to get it bigger. So anyway, that's what she said. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that. That's horrible. I shouldn't say stuff like that. You guys are supposed to say those comments, not me. But yeah, so if you're already saying that your girlfriend is a worse roommate than you, the reality is you are destined to have a breakup. It is coming. It is literally I would say it is right there on the edge. You are on the edge of losing your touch with your relationship with your girlfriend. It's going to happen. You guys need to just sit down and figure out how to just have a discussion, how to talk, how to make everything work out. If you're tired of her leaving the dishes out, talk about it. And don't bicker, don't yell about it. Don't accuse each other. Just talk about it and see if you can come to a good reason, a good accord on how to handle the situation. It's really that simple. And I'm saying that in a nice way. But if you are constantly bickering with each other, you guys are going nowhere, and you will break up. You are destined to break up. It is going to happen. So yeah. Sure. Let's see. Why not? Let's have you jump in here. How are you guys doing? Let's get you. Were you betting that no one would accept your invitation? So you guys are just like wanting to say, "Hey, what's going on? What is this guy talking about?" So this is kind of funny. So you're just going around and see what's going to be on there. What's going on? More and more people just jumping on TikTok just to see what's going on. That's funny. Anyway, let's take care of that. That's done. And I got you guys muted. If you want, you can be on here. That's fine. I don't care. But we'll just keep you muted for a little bit unless you got a question, and then just kind of raise your hand, I guess. But no, it's you gotta treat, again, your girlfriend. You guys should reconcile this. It's easy to reconcile, and you guys can reconcile it, but it's totally up to you. So whatever. Anyway, let's go to number 2. Number 2 is, it says, "Hey Devin, my family is super close, which is usually great, but lately it feels like they're way too involved in my relationship. They ask tons of questions, offer unsolicited advice, and sometimes it feels like my partner and I can't make a decision without their input. How do I set boundaries without hurting their feelings?" So here's the thing. If your family's too involved in your life, and you got to set boundaries. Hold on, let me put you on mute here. What?
How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
How are you?
I'm good. Very good. Where are you guys at? How are you guys doing? Let's bring you over here. I'll put you on the. So, you guys doing all right? What are you guys up to? What are y'all doing? Ah, very nice. Got it. Huh?
ये देखो मुर्दे खड़ा गला बैठी पीछे और बात तो फूल लगाऊं फूल लगाऊं एक और बंदा ले आओ करेन बैठी गई ये आती है ना
Oh, so
Please pick the match. Please pick the match.
what are you guys talking about?
Please pick the match.
Click the match. Oh, I gotcha. I see what you're doing. And then we'll see what happens. All right. Anyway. It's so much going on. So much going on. Give me 1 second. All right. Let's get this. Sometimes this can be chaos, especially when I have multiple platforms going at one time. It's kind of crazy. A lot of stuff going on. Let's see. Let's go here. Boom, done. Oh, man. You know, sometimes when people request to be on things, see, this is the hard part. This is the hard part about doing what I'm doing is people jump on and they make requests. And then when they make requests, they just act like a fool. And, you know, I take that chance. I always take that chance. That's the thing. I take the chance. And when I take the chance, then it's always, well, okay, it's like last night. Yeah, thank you. That's exactly what I said. You know, the thing is, like last night, there was a young lady who jumped on here, and she literally had a problem. And she asked a question, and I answered the question. And then the question got deeper. Obviously, I've sent the information over to the right people. She's going through some rough stuff. I'll say it that way. I'm going to say it in a nice way as possible. She's going through some rough things, and when she was going through those rough things, she's actually, in a sense, acting like a fence for her siblings, where she's the one that gets beat up from her parents versus her siblings. It was a rough situation. Literally, it's like the last call in that I got last night. It was a hard one, and you know, so it's one of those things. It's like if someone legitimately has a question, someone legitimately has a problem, I am all for, you know, helping them out. But obviously, I get crazy people like this, and there's that. So, but if someone's got a question, I will be totally glad to add them to it. But you know, that's how that works. Anyway, I've got to start figuring out what I need to do is get a co-host that can help vet these things. That's the hard part, is getting people to vet. Being that I'm a one-man show in this thing, so there's that. Anyway, back to the email. Let me get back to that. So I'll start it over. My family is super close, which is usually great, but lately it feels like they're way too involved in my relationship. They ask tons of questions after unsolicited advice, and sometimes it feels like my partner and I can't make decisions without their input. How do I set boundaries without hurting their feelings? Here's the thing. Family is family. You can't change it. You can't fix it. But what you can do, you can limit what they do. Now, to limit what family does with you is you just, you know, if they want to give unsolicited advice, it's advice. It's no different than my advice. Unsolicited advice is literally just like me telling you guys something to do. You guys can say, no, that's stupid. I'm not going to do it. So that's essentially what you guys need to do. You guys need to just set that boundary And if people just say, if they want to do something that you don't want to do, just tell them, say, hey, that's not what we do want to do. That's not our idea. It's kind of like when my father-in-law, when we were, he took our family to Disney once, and actually he did it a couple of times. And during that trip, he's like, okay, here he literally planned out the entire thing. This is what we're going to do. We have to be here at this time. We have to be here at this time. And when the kids are getting tired, he's like, oh, nope, they got to suffer through. We only have so much time to get things done. And so I looked at my wife. I'm like, no, this is not going to work. We got little kids. They can't go as fast as he can right now. Of course, now times have changed. He's the one that can't go fast as anyone else. So there's that. But you just got to say no. How are you doing, my friend? I'm glad you're back. The thing is, when it comes to family, you can say no. Say no simple. And then say, hey, you know what? I appreciate your input, but right now, it's not what I want to do. I don't like it. So we're going to do our own thing. And that's okay. And if they get offended, they get offended. You have to get to the point where you don't really worry about what they think. And I think that's the core problem here. You do care about their opinions when it comes to things versus actually living your life. So you got to live your life. And if their opinions do help and it does make things where it can work, then so be it. That's what you got to do. You just got to live that part of your life, and you got to be able to do it. So there's that. Anyway. Hey Devin, I've always been told that if you work hard, you can achieve the American dream. But with the way things are now, the way things are now, rising costs, job instability, and so much uncertainty, it feels like the dream is out of reach for most people. Do you think the American dream still exists, or is it just a myth that we've been sold? The American dream does exist, okay? The American dream is real, but as you said, it is getting harder. Well, in River, you are kind of right. He says, I hear excuses. You haven't worked hard enough. Okay, the thing is, now here's the catcher. With things happening in our country like they are right now, it is getting harder. And the American dream, it is still obtainable. And people do need to just work. And they do have to jump up, and they have to do everything they can. And part of it is they just got to change their lifestyle a little bit to be able to have, the full actual American dream, the house and all that, the job and all this other stuff. You need to pivot a little bit, and you need to be able to say, okay, on the American dream, most people think the American dream is a house, a car, a wife, and a good job. If you can get the house and you can have the older car, you'll be fine. You can't work and expect to win. You have to be consistent and show that then you can succeed. Maybe it's 3 years, maybe. Well, you're right. It's not something that's going to be instant. And when it comes to the American. So okay. So I was in a car it was like a Uber group car or whatever you want to call it. There was a group of people that were all riding together. And while in the car, we had about a 40-minute ride in between. Well, it was 40 minutes till I got to where I needed to be, and I can't remember what it was. It was like 20 minutes till this one girl, she was a college student, till she got off at her stop, and we essentially started talking about this. And her thing was, she's like, you know what? I will never ever be able to own a house. I'll never be able to own a house, which essentially is a huge part of the American dream, is owning a house. And I said, why is that? She says, have you not seen the prices of houses in Utah? I'm like, no, I've seen the prices of houses in Utah. And she says, well, you're a different generation. Your generation has screwed it up for me. I'm like, no. I said, don't be blaming me for saying this is a generational thing. I said, this is in many cases the way that things are. The economy is based off of who we've elected, for one. And what we need to do is you got to just buckle down harder. She goes, well, I'll never be able to own a house. I'm like, you can. I said, it comes down to perspective and what you want to do. I said, if you want to be able to own a house, then you need to Well, River, you are right. Is that if you have the right mindset, you're 50% there. But the mindset is this: may not be able to afford a house in Utah because sure, I mean my daughter's going to struggle to buy a house here in Utah because housing market is so off kilter. It's not where it should be. But you need to be able to say, okay, can I work? And I said, do you work from home? She goes, yeah, I have a remote job. And okay, so you can live anywhere. She goes, yeah, but I like Utah. I said, okay, Utah's nice, but I can tell you right now, there's places in Missouri. She goes, I don't want to live in Missouri. I said, okay, I understand. I said, but there's places in Missouri that you can get for $15,000 and $20,000, and they're sitting on like 5 to 10 to 20 to even 100 acres of land, depends on what you're looking for. You can get super, super cheap. Move to Oklahoma. He says it's cheap there. No, it is. And the thing is, I follow this Instagram page called, what is it called? Cheap Old Houses. And let me tell you, if you want to find a house, you can find a house. You just got to be willing to say, okay, I don't have to be here, but I can have what I want. And if I go there, especially if you work remotely, you can live anywhere you want. As long as you have good internet, you're good to go. So, the American dream is obtainable, but we have to make some sacrifices in ourselves and the things that we want to do just to obtain it. Like we've been renting since lived in Utah. But it's big part of that is because we didn't know where we wanted to live, and we haven't really set down roots here. But what we have done is we have we've built up some other resources. So when we do go to where we want to move to, which is most likely going to be Tennessee, we'll have either a house mostly paid for, or it will be always all the way paid for, or the land will be paid for, and then we'll just borrow money to build the house. But you put the time in and think about it. No, it's really, it is literally everything is a time thing. If you want the American dream, you got to put in the time and you got to put in the work and you got to be able to make some slight different changes. Now, I will say, I do believe we are going into a rough patch when it comes to our country. I see that this strike on the docks is going to change some things, and we're going to see goods going up. I noticed my wife was telling me that there's a lot of stores that she's been reading around the country. Now that could be media too, but I haven't noticed it here yet in Utah, where people are buying excess of everything, like toilet paper and things like that, like they did during the beginning of COVID, because they're afraid that you're not going to be able to get stuff. So the people are kind of fear mongering, and that's kind of happening. But that being said, it will be okay. But yeah, I think if we put in the work, as you said, maximum effort, it will happen. You just got to work. It's going to take some time. So yeah, there's that. Hey, Devin. My friend group has recently gotten really into heated political debates, and honestly, I'm over it. I just want to hang out and relax. But every time we get together turns into a full-blown argument. How do I politely ask them to leave politics out of our social time without coming across as dismissive? Just ask them why you guys are here. Seriously, all you got to do is say, hey, what are we here for, guys? Are we here to talk politics, or are we here to play a game? Are we here to talk politics, or are we here to go bowling? Are we here to talk politics, or are we going to hang out and have some fun? Are we here to talk politics, or are we going to try to pick up on some of these ladies? Yeah, leave them. It seems that politics never fails to break people up. The thing is, two things that always break people up: politics and religion. Those are the two things that people always argue over, and it's the two things that usually make people, get mad at each other, so they'll move on. The thing is, you never can win in politics unless you have a different perspective, which I have my perspective and my opinions when it comes to politics. But that being said, I'm not going to argue with you. I can respect your opinion, and I can respect what your belief is, but doesn't mean I have to like it. It's about being polite. And so just tell them, say, hey, are we going to get together and talk politics, or are we going to get together and talk and do what we came here for? Be straightforward. That's simple as that. And then if that doesn't work, move on. As River says, leave them. Find you a new group. Yeah. Hey, Devin. My ex has recently been reaching out, wanting to reconnect, and I have to admit, I'm tempted. We broke up a year ago because we grew apart, but I still care about them. Do you think it's ever a good idea to give an old relationship another shot, or is the past better left in the past? I think what people, when it comes to getting back with their ex, it's kind of like, it's like that old T-shirt, and it gets really dirty and mangy, and it starts getting holes in it and things like that. It's still comfortable, and you like it, but you wouldn't wear it in public. River says the first time you fall in love is true love, but the second time you fall in love, you're just falling in love with the memories. Right, and that's my point. It's kind of like that old T-shirt, right? You got all the holes in it. It's probably the most comfortable T-shirt you've ever had. You love it. You love all the places you went with the thing. You have all those memories, but it's still an old T-shirt. You wouldn't wear that T-shirt out in public. You wouldn't wear it to church. You wouldn't wear it on a date. You would just wear it because it's just comfortable. So I'd say just because it's comfortable doesn't mean you should do it. And as I've said it before, and I always will say it, they became an ex for a reason. That's the reality. If they're an ex, they're an ex. So keep them an ex. And that might sound very rude, but it's true. Let the ex be the ex, and then move on. So I mean, it's just, I understand why people like to go back to their exes, because honestly, you're probably lonely too. And you're like, oh, but it'll work out. Sure, it could, but it also could be it's most likely going to turn into what it was before. And so how bad was that fiasco before? How bad was all of that before when, reality has to set in sometime. So yeah, I'd say let the ex be the ex and leave it alone. Move on. Don't jump back into that relationship. Go find you something that's better and more appealing, to be honest. So there's that. Hey Devin, my partner and I have been dating for about a year, and we're thinking about moving in together. Part of it is because we want to make the next step. We want to make the next step in our relationship. But I'll be honest, saving money is a big motivation too. Do you think financial reasons are bad reasons to move in together, or is this a smart move? Okay. So you want to get married because you want to take it to the next step. And then but you're also doing it because it's financial reasons. Oh, that's kind of cool. But honestly, what's going on? The thing is, if you're only going to move in together because I would, my personal opinion, I'll go there. Get married first, because River says get if you're in it for the money, just quit sooner than later. I mean, here's the thing. If you guys are wanting to take this to the next step, go ahead and take the next step, because then there's other financial benefits for you too, not just moving in together. That is a thing that can be done, right? There are, by living together, you do save some money, and you guys can split the bills, and it saves you, it'll save you. There is a lot of financial benefits of just living together. But on the other side, if you do want to take it to that next step, just take it to the next step. What's holding on? Why are you afraid of going there already? I would just make that move. Go ahead and make the next step, elope, whatever you guys got to do, and then move in. Because then you can make it actually happen in a good way. You'll have no other things other than being forced to work it out no matter what, and you'll be fine. I mean, but if you're solely looking at this on the financial side, then it's going to end horribly, Because if the only thing you have in common is the finances, then what's the stopping them to say, "Hey, thanks for being here, but let's do our own thing now, but we'll just be roommates." Seriously, yeah. Hey, Devin, I've been a member of a gym for a couple of years. there's nothing cheap about being married. Yes and no. If you're already in a relationship, then you already don't have money anyway. Okay. The only thing that you can do is if you get married and because you want to make it cheaper, instead of having to pay two separate insurances for like your cars, then what you end up doing, you have joint insurance, which actually will reduce your insurance a little bit. So there's that, right? It's again, there is financial decisions there are financial things when it comes to getting married. There's actually several of them, but it's not cheap. I will say I did have more money when I was single than I did when I first got married. That is true. That's a true story. Probably had more money when I was single than the first, I'd say, 10 years of my marriage. On and off, 10 years of my marriage. Yeah. So there's that. Hey, Devin, I've been a member of this gym for a couple of years, but lately I haven't been going as much, and it's just not worth the money anymore. The problem is every time I try to cancel, the guilt trip into staying with offers and promotions. How do I break up with my gym for good without feeling like a quitter? You got guilt guilt from the guys at the gym. Here's the thing: if they're going to give you a guilt because you want to cancel your gym pass, then I need to talk because I got some stuff I want to sell you. The reality is it's your money. They don't deserve your money. No one deserves your money but you. So why are you giving it to them? If you want to cancel something, just cancel it. That'd be like if Netflix tried to convince you, say, "Oh, don't cancel your Netflix because you're going to miss out on all these shows," which they probably do that, but I don't pay attention. But the reality is, who cares? Break up with your gym, get your money. If you're not using it and it's just pulling a drain out of your pocket, don't do it. Seriously, that makes no sense to me. I mean, this is coming from a guy that's actually getting ready to start back to the gym because of the phone call I had today. I'm going to have to change some stuff because the potential show that I'll be going on. I said that is true. I have another potential show I could be going on, and if that does happen, I do need to be in a little bit better shape than what I currently am in. So there's that. So, but no, I mean, the thing is, don't let guilt hold you into something. Because if you can be guilted into keeping your gym pass when you want to cancel it because they're like, "Oh, here's a promotion," forget the promotion. There's always going to be some type of promotion, and there's going to be always some kind of offer. But if you're not using those offers anyway, there's no point in even staying there. So yeah, pass up on the guilt. Go in there. You know, I don't care how good the gym lady looks, and she's trying to guilt you into things. Look straight up in the air. Sounds like I want to say those. It's like a episode of like Friends or something. I don't know, something like that. But you can do this. Just go in there, be a man, make it happen. It's just a gym pass. It's not like you're debating on whether you should ask a girl to marry you, or if you're debating on, hey, well, she really cheated on me, but now she says she loves me. It's not like that. Those type of decisions. This is just strictly and solely about your financial pockets is all this is. Hey, Devin, I've noticed that everyone seems to be moving to Florida these days, despite the crazy weather, alligators, and, well, Florida man stories. What's the big appeal? Is it just the sunshine and no state income tax, or is there something I'm missing? Okay, so my wife's from Florida. I probably should say some nice things about Florida. I could say that Florida is nothing but a giant litter box, cat litter box. But I wouldn't say that because that'd be rude. No, Florida does have some, so out of all the country, out of the whole country, Florida is fairly conservative. So if you are conservative and you do like less government and more freedoms, Florida's pretty decent. I know there are other states that are, when it comes to politics, that are just as free, if not more free. It's definitely not California. Now, I will say California has some of the prettiest beaches I've seen in the continental 48. The Gulf Coast is beautiful when it comes to Florida. I actually prefer the Gulf over the Atlantic. I mean, the weather in general in Florida is all around pretty decent, you know. That just came through. So, yeah. So according to the river, the guy at the gym, he says they're just a POS, to be honest. And anyone who guilt trips is just an a-hole. So yeah, don't read don't read that. It's just from earlier. I read it anyway. It's okay. That just came through. But no, I mean, when it comes to Florida, though, Florida is not a bad place to live. There's a lot of good, pretty places. Now they do get hit by hurricanes, which is a I would say a big no for me. We did live in Florida for a few months. My wife grew up in Florida all her life, but I do prefer to be away from hurricanes, and I like the more stability of having real dirt versus just sand underneath my feet. But it is a good place to visit. And honestly, the no state income tax is amazing. But yes, there are those Florida stories. I mean, you can Google anything in Florida and any date and type Florida man, and you're coming up with an amazing story. I mean, there's one of my favorites is the guy that robbed a Wendy's with an alligator. So that is a real story. Go look it up. Man robs Wendy's in Florida with an alligator. So, I mean, as far as why people move there, everybody's got their own opinions. It's like, why are people moving from California into Texas? And honestly, it's because they want more freedoms. They want to be away from all the high taxes. So they're looking for financial gain. So most people, you can do that, and it's all about the financial gain. So there's that. Hey Devin, I've been spending way too much time on TikTok, and I've noticed that I can't focus on anything longer than 30 seconds, than a 30-second video anymore. I used to be able to read books, watch movies, without getting distracted, but now it feels impossible. Is TikTok messing with my brain, or am I just overthinking this? You got to do a digital detox. You have to do a digital detox. And part of that is, honestly, it's one of the greatest things. Okay, River says if you do move to Florida, move to the place that's called 30A. My aunt has a house there, and it's super nice. And it's super nice place with just beautiful sand, beautiful beaches, and great fishing. I know what you're talking about, and it is beautiful there. You are correct. But yeah, but the thing is, when it comes to TikTok. When it comes to the TikTok brain, when it comes to the attention span of most people these days, we have been trained, and it is a thing when it comes to all of the stuff that we do in social media. We do have that scrolling mentality. Now, one of the greatest things that I ever did was I turned off my notifications. So usually I will not look at my I think that's the first key. Go into your phone settings, turn off all your notifications for all your social media. Then if you're picking up your phone just out of the blue because there's no notifications, you know that you have an addiction to it. So to fix that problem, all you have to do is put the phone down. There's apps out there that actually won't let you scroll TikTok or anything unless you've done like 20 push-ups. So there's that. So you have to do 20 push-ups before you can do it. There's some apps that actually get you out of that world of should I keep scrolling or should I not? When it comes to social media, there is an addictive power behind it. As I use it for my living, by the way. But yes, there is an addictive power for it. But if we can get in and we can avoid a lot of those addictive powers, then what happens is we can we'll start reading books more. We'll be better people, for one. You just have to get past that. You just have to learn to sit it down, have a little bit more self-control, get yourself intermingling with people more, because that will help a ton. You need to get out and do more things away from the phone. When I filmed the TV show I did a few months ago, which will be coming out in December, by the way. I can't tell you what it is, but it'll be coming out in December. When I filmed that TV show, it's on Amazon too, by the way. I'll tell you that too. Now, when I was filming that TV show, one of the most beautiful things I did, and I saw people that were having that phantom phone vibration in their leg, and they'd always reach for their phone. But when I had to, there was one thing I wish I could have done, but that would have meant I'd been able to keep my phone. But when I turned my phone in and I lost my phone until we were done filming, I didn't think about my phone. I didn't think about checking email. I didn't think about checking any social media. I didn't think about any of that. And so it kind of rewired my brain a little bit to avoid all the whole social media stuff and the whole, continuous of scrolling and being awake for hours for no end. And it kind of helped me out. And so when I got back from filming and they gave me my phone, it was strange to have it out. It was strange to be, scrolling. It was strange to be doing all that stuff. So that taught me something. And that's right now, I can tell you, I've got every video that's being posted on my social media. Doesn't matter which social media it is. Those are all scheduled out. That's stuff that's been scheduled out, and I've got things scheduled out currently all the way up until the 1st of February now. So I'm spending a ton of time scheduling things and getting those done and now I will jump in and I'll put some of the immediate things that pops up so that you'll see more posts on some days than others, which is fine. But the immediate stuff, like say when Christmas comes around, I will post a Christmas video, but there will be also other videos. When it comes to Thanksgiving, I'll post a Thanksgiving video, but there will be other videos. Again, it's just like, it taught me to unleash myself from social media. So it's been nice. And I think if more people did that and they did that digital detox and they get away from their phones a little bit, their lives will be so much better. Just take the time, skip it, get out of it, and you'll be good. Hey, Devin. Speaking of social media, here we go. Hey, Devin. I've noticed that every time I scroll through Instagram, I end up feeling worse about myself. Everyone seems to be living these perfect these perfect lives, and I'm stuck comparing myself to them. Is social media to blame for my insecurities, or is this just a me problem? So this is a mixture of two things. One, it is a you problem, but a lot of people tend to have this problem. I'm not sure how old you are, but the reality is when it comes to this, it is a hard thing to do. Because we always envy things that are going on, and we always envy the stuff that we see, and we always want to do those things that we see, and we want to kind of mimic the things we see, right? So when it comes to Instagram or TikTok or whatever, it can trigger the feeling of I'm insecure because all these people have perfect lives. Let me tell you about their perfect lives. This is a cool story. I will not call them out. I will tell their story, but I will not say what their Instagram is. I will tell you that they have, I think at this point, it's 2 or 3 million followers. And they're they are a travel Instagrammers. So they're travel bloggers and vloggers and Instagrammers, right? When they first started, they portrayed this most amazing life that you could ever have. And when they were portraying this life, the life that they were portraying was a total sham. It was as fake as can be. They would go and they hold on. It says, so River says, see, the thing about social media is all you see is success, all of their success and expenses, things I've bought, but none of the work they put in. No, you're correct. So the thing is, we see one thing, but so that's where I'm kind of getting at. So this couple who do this travel Instagram, they go into they bring a friend, and when they first started doing this, they did it this way. It's a big mixture too. They would go to find very nice, expensive houses, and they'd get usually 3 or 4 of them would go look. So then they would take, their phones and a quick camera with them and a small tripod. They would be the wife was wearing a dress, and he would be wearing something, and underneath all that was a bikini and swim shorts, or they'd have another little small bag with a lingerie or whatever it was, right? So they would have 2 people that they'd go, the real estate lady would show them the house, and then 2 people would break off, and then they'd go take photos in like the cool bedroom or in the kitchen, snap all these photos, right? And make a quick video of what their house looked like, and then they would go lay by the pool. Some of them would even jump in the pool and stuff like that. So they built that with nothing, owning nothing, literally living in a crappy apartment, living their greatest life, which was a total farce, and it was completely fake. But so they lived this great life that people admired, but it was fake. But then they started getting the following, and they started getting the views, and they started getting the shares, and they started getting all of that. One person shares something, more people see it. That's essentially what it comes down to. So every time someone shares one of my videos, more people get to see it. More people that see it, more people that like it, more people that like it, the more money I potentially have to make. It's that snowball effect, right? So it's like when I go live, if more people share my live on their story or whatever, it just goes through, and people can, it works out where more people see it, and then potential more income coming in. And that's what they did. They built that up where they could get to that point where they could make more money. So now, after all that fakeness that they had, now they actually can live that life. So they put in the work. They did the hard things, and they did fake it a lot. But because they faked it, now they can have the things that they want to do. Now they can go the places that they want to go. Now they can see the places and do the things that they've always wanted to do. And I'm not saying that that's the best way to do this. I know it's a way to do it. And I know it's a way that a lot of people do it. But, fake it till you make it. No, remember, there is something to be said about that. Now, I do know if you try to fake it too much, people can find out, and people will find out. Especially if you don't portray it in the right way. I mean, what they're doing, they started their business on a lie, essentially. And I'm not one to, I hate the idea of lying. I'd rather just tell people the truth and go that route. Maybe that's my problem. Maybe that's why I don't have millions of followers, but I don't know. I could be. I'm sure there's other reasons why I don't have millions of followers. Or there's that. But the reality is, if you love doing something, then eventually it'll work. That's the reality. Like honestly, again, last night, young lady comes on and asked me some questions, and she was going through some hard stuff, and there were some abuse issues going through, and so I reported that abuse to the right people. She's in a different country, and so I reported that abuse to the right people in another country. Sent them a copy of the entire podcast, everything, so they could see everything that went down. She got on and she was just texting back and forth of her problems, and we talked it through, and she was feeling better at the end of it all. But I still reported it, and I told her she needs to report it. And the reality is like that's what I'm here for. I'm here to talk to people. I'm here to answer questions, whether it's about social media or relationships or really whatever. It doesn't bother me. I'm willing to talk about anything. But that's kind of what I'm doing. That's why I enjoy doing this. But yeah, as far as social media makes you feel insecure, it's going to, and that's why you need to do some detoxing too. Don't feel bad about yourself because other people are most likely, and I say most likely, other people are most likely living a fake life. Don't compare yourself to others, but if you want what they have, work for it. It can be done. Yeah, so there's that. Hey, Devin, I've had a friend for years, but lately they've been very negative, very toxic. Every conversation turns into a venting session about their problems. and it's really draining. I've tried talking to them about it, but nothing changes. Is it wrong? Is it wrong if I just ghost them and move on with my life? So you get a friend that's draining you. You have a friend that instead of talking about good things, to talk about positive things. I swear I prefer to talk about positive things. I'll discuss negative things. I do that quite often. Discuss things that people don't like. Boy, do I hate complainers. River, you're funny. You crack me up, my friend. You know, the thing is, everybody needs somebody to talk to, right? So what I've done, and I've had some friends that have been very negative, that they're the complainers and they're they're that toxic person. My goal is to try to change that toxicity and turn it into something that's not toxic. And sometimes you just can't. And so I know I've done this in the past. I've told people, hey, you know what? I just need some space for a while. So this is thing you can do. Number one, you can tell them, hey, I need some space. I know a little bit too much about your life right now, and it's kind of overbearing and overthrowing my me. I prefer positive stuff, and then the negative things. I prefer to deal with all the things as they are, and I prefer to be a happier person. And a lot of stuff you're talking about is negative. I've said this, and so I said, can I give me some time? Just let me step away for a while. And give me some time. And lo and behold, they were a little taken back from it. And they sent me a message, once I did that. And then the next day sent me a message saying, did I do something wrong? And I said, well, I mean, we talked about it last night. And they said, but, then they're like, well, I'm struggling. I'm like, I understand you're struggling. But I see your problems, but you don't see what I have to go through. And it is very taxing. When people complain, it just becomes a burden on you, and it can tear you down and take you down. So that's what you got to do. You got to have that straightforward conversation. The other thing that you can do, and I've done this as well, and I've done this with complainers as well, people who don't know how to control their emotions and all they want to do is be negative. Just tell them and be straightforward. Even with my own children. Humans in general, we do harp on the negative things of life. It's easier to talk about. Everybody's got something negative that they can talk about that's somewhat in common. I guarantee if anyone and everyone ever watches or listens to this podcast from whether it's live or in the future, they can think of probably 10 things that are negative in their life. The problem with doing that, those negative thoughts it expands in your brain and it makes you more miserable. And so when you become more miserable, you start thinking about more negative stuff. It's a snowball effect inside your head. So to fix that, I've told my kids, I've told my friends that are negative, I need you to be less negative and think about how something bad may have happened, but how can that be a positive thing? How can that become something that can make your life better? Because honestly, bad things happen. It's not negative. It's more of an opportunity. Every negative thing in your life can turn into an opportunity, right? Of course, everybody's seen those memes that says, my therapist says it changed things from from one thing to another. So I have a serious drink. Instead of saying I have a serious drinking problem, I have a serious drinking opportunity. We've all seen those. But the reality is, if you just focus on the right stuff and think, okay, well, I'm going through something, but what's going to happen next? What's going to be good that's going to happen next? Because we tend to think, okay, what's the negative thing that's going to happen next? Great. Well, here comes more. That's the wrong way to go. In the show that I was in, what can I say? What can I not say? So I can talk. Okay, so in the show that I was in, that gets released in December, I wrote in my journal the last time I was able to keep my journal on me, and in that journal, I wrote. Basically, that journal does not have any negative stuff in it. It's all positive stuff. It's all good stuff. Maybe I got that from my mom. My mom was writing it. She had a gratitude journal, and I think everybody needs one of those because we need to be more grateful about things in life. But I would write things about basic stuff going on, and if I do talk about anything that's negative, I talk about how I'm changing that. So in my journal, I wrote my goal is to make it this far, and I know it's going to happen. And then I had to turn in all my stuff, turn in my phone, turn in my journal, turn in all my digital stuff, turn in my glasses. I had to turn in these glasses here because my Ray-Bans, they're the CIA ones that spy on people, as River says. I had to turn those in because they don't want any cameras out there where I was at, because they only want their cameras and their cameras only. So that being said, the last thing I wrote in my journal, it happened. I hate to say I wrote it into existence, but I kind of did. I kind of wrote it into existence, and it did happen. And I do know when I did end up leaving the show, when I did get eliminated from the show, that my elimination, I was at ease with it. It was perfectly fine. It was again, it was something. I don't want to say it was meant to be, but in my journal, I wrote that I would, when it comes my time to leave the show, whether it's by winning the full amount of money or leaving the show on my own accord, I will leave, and I will have no stress, no pain. I will know it's the right thing. And because I did that, I was able to see someone else. When I left, and I'm not telling you what all happened, but when I left, I was able to see something amazing happen to a friend / counterpart who got to progress further. And it was awesome. It was completely awesome. So could I have been negative and all bitter about it? Probably. But what did I? No. I was a little down because I felt like I let my family down. But then when I got my phone back, I called my wife, and she lifted me back up where I needed to be. So when I was down, I was at 50%. Oh, like I said, marriage is 100 and plus 100. I was down in like the 50 or even lower. And she was at the 100, and she took her 100, and she helped lift me back up to where I needed to be. So that's a prime example of how marriage should be, really. But again, negative, if we want to get away from negative thoughts, we just got to start pushing forward, and we got to start saying the positive things. And if you are in a negative situation, it will get better. I mean, honestly, go back to my favorite quote again. Charlie Chaplin, he says, "Life is a tragedy when seen up close, but a comedy in long shot." So when you're right there in it, you got those blinders on and you're right here, all you see is this. And you're like, crap, this sucks. But if you just do that long shot and you pan out and you take it all in perspective, it's a comedy. So you got to remember that. That's my thinking in life. That's what makes you happier. And if we can get past that, and if you can get past that, and you can help your friends get past that. And here's the thing. If your friend can never get past that being toxic and being so negative all the time, it is perfectly fine to walk away. Never feel bad about walking away. Because if they're dragging you down, then you shouldn't be there. Again, what's that saying? If there are 5 smokers, you're going to be the 6th. If you hang out with 5 smokers, you're going to be the 6th smoker. If you hang out with 5 druggies, you're going to be the 6th druggie. But if you hang around the 5 millionaires, you're going to be the 6th millionaire. That's true. It really is. So don't let people drag you down to where you don't need to be when you deserve and you should be way better than you are. That's what you got to do. That's where you have to be. So there's that. Anyway. Dictate your environment or let your environment dictate you. That is correct. Your parents tell you that, River? Or is that something you read somewhere, or where'd you hear that? Because that is a very true statement. Probably no truer statement that I've ever heard. It's like death by association. The people, again, if you hang out with certain people, then you'll be considered that type of person. But if you hang out with another certain people, see, I knew your parents told you that. You got wise parents. You can tell them I said that. Your parents are very smart. So, yeah. Hey, Devin, I'm starting to think that I'm addicted to coffee. I can't get through the morning without at least 2 cups. And if I don't have it, I feel like a zombie. My friends joke about it, but now I'm wondering, can you actually be addicted to caffeine, or should I cut back before it's too late? Okay, here's the thing. From a guy that doesn't drink caffeine except occasionally, I'll tell you what. Caffeine is very, very addictive. Bro, you're just growing up. Right? The thing is, yes, you can be addicted to coffee, and yes, you can be addicted to caffeine. It is probably the most distributed drug in the world. It's true. It really is. It is a drug. But I know it does make you perky, does make people feel better in the mornings. But I'll tell you, if you want to get away from it, it can be done. And to get away from it, you just have to change your life. Now, you will have headaches. You will have caffeine headaches. If you drink that much caffeine, even on the minimum, I'd say you're drinking very minimum. I know people that drink way more. I know people that drink, several energy drinks in a day, and those things will freaking kill you. Like people go to my wife's hospital because energy drinks are literally destroying their heart. So there's that. Caffeine withdrawals is real. It is. It absolutely is real. Now, to get past caffeine withdrawals, you got to. So caffeine sucks out magnesium out of your body, and magnesium is probably one of the main minerals that we need that most people are deficient in. And so if we don't have magnesium, then we tend to have higher blood pressure. And if you have higher blood pressure, then you end up with strokes or even death. So if you can eliminate caffeine, River says getting over caffeine withdrawals is like getting over a hangover, but for a long time. Well, it's true. It's true. So the thing is, to get over caffeine and get out of caffeine, to do it, you just have to do it, right? And you're going to have to be willing to have the headaches and be willing to deal with all that crap that comes from the caffeine and how that works. That's why like my go-to drink is literally having here my go-to drink. My go-to drink is water, and then I put a little pinch of Celtic salt in it. Because Celtic salt has more minerals in it than the regular, and it's actually a better salt for you. It's actually more flavorful salt too anyway. And that keeps you hydrated. And that's when you have high blood pressure, typically you have low magnesium, and you have, yes, I know people are like, well, what is salt? Salt's bad for you. Not this one. This actually is curing my blood pressure issues. So there's that. But yeah, so it's yes, you have a caffeine addiction, and your friends are, they're making jokes about it. They're right. And the only way to fix that is if you don't like it, you just got to get off of it and get ready for the hellish headaches. Because I've been there and done that. My go-to drink for years was Dr. Pepper. I probably would drink on an average work day, easily, I'd say 6 to 10 20-ounce bottles. It's no wonder I got high blood pressure, because I was literally destroying my body. River says, my dad says, if you don't like it, do something about it. That's literally the truth. That's why I'm on a new. I'm back into my normal routine. I'm for myself. I don't like how I feel, because I've gained some weight back, and so I'm on my weight loss journey as we're getting ready to get into the holidays, which is kind of sucky, but it's okay. I'll deal with it and I'll move forward. But especially with this potential new show I'm going to be on. I do need to get in better shape, and so I've changed my diet back to what I used to do. I'm actually doing the carnivore diet again, which is, I feel so much better when I'm on the carnivore diet, and I'm drinking nothing but water, and so my life is a lot better. And so, yeah, and I'm doing something about it. I'm making changes that make my life better. So if you don't like the fact that they're making fun of you because you drink a lot of caffeine, do something about it. Simple as that. Hey, Devin, I love the holidays as much as the next person, but my neighbor already has their Christmas lights up. and it's only October, like October. So this one I went to did an email dump today. So this one is just immediately new. So I'm getting to something new. Nice. And it's only October. It's like they're skipping all over Halloween and Thanksgiving altogether. How do I ask them to tone it down without being a Grinch in the Grinch of the neighborhood? Simple. You don't. It's none of your business. Simple as that. You are not that you're being a Grinch, but you're being a Karen. Okay. Stop being a Karen. Stop freaking out because other people are putting their lights up. If you have an HOA, they probably have some ruling there, but they're just preparing for Christmas. Who cares? Why should it bother you? I mean, if the lights are on at night, the thing is, during Christmas time when it hits, the lights are probably going to be on and it's going to be bright like crazy. But you're not paying the power bill. Don't let this bother you. So I'm going to tell you, you're the problem. They're not the problem. You're the problem. Yeah, that's like the people who get, now I do think there's a special place in hell for these people, but there's that. It's like people who don't return the shopping cart, the buggy. I'm from the South, so it's called a buggy. But they won't return the shopping cart back to the shopping cart return place or back to the store. I don't like that they don't do that. But on the other side, that's on them. If they just put it in the grass, I think that's wrong. I think they're just being lazy, right? But let them be lazy. Who cares? That's all on them. I'm not going to get out and say, hey, you didn't return your shopping cart. What kind of jerk would I be? Really? It doesn't bother you. Don't let it bother you. Don't get over it. You will be perfectly fine. I don't know why some people, like as you said before, River, you hate complainers. So there we go. Sorry, I got on you, but the reality is, stop worrying about things. If it doesn't concern you, move on. And now some things you should concern yourself. Like if you see a kidnapping, intervene. Do the right thing. Intervene. So there's that. Hey Devin, Thanksgiving is just around the corner, and my in-laws are hosting this year. The problem is they're very opinionated. Whose aren't? Especially about politics, of course. And it always turns into a heated debate. How do I survive the holidays without starting World War III at the dinner table? Don't talk about it. If they ask your opinion, you say, you know what? I've made a decision to not talk about politics this year. And if they get upset with that, they'll get over it. And if they keep pushing you, move on. Seriously. The thing is, everybody's in-laws are opinionated. Everybody's in-laws have their own personal way of how they handle things. And honestly, they're probably not good at conversation. I find that most people are not really good with conversation. Most people only know how to do the small talk. And honestly, politics are small talk, which can deep dive into something bigger. Same thing with religion. Same thing with, it's same thing with the basics. Most people have a limited understanding of most things. Most people, and I mean limited, most people have a very minor understanding of anything. And then when it comes to an understanding of a lot of things, it's even smaller. So, but as far as, not having World War III, it wouldn't be Thanksgiving without it, right? Would you want Thanksgiving any other way? I'm just kidding. No, I mean, it's going to be fine. Yes, it can be unnerving. Yes, it can be hard. Yes, it can be frustrating. All that is valid. But honestly, just don't involve yourself in those conversations. It doesn't matter. If you don't want to have any arguments and you want it to be a good, like in your eyes, a great Thanksgiving, just don't get involved in it. Choose to not have that conversation. I mean, you are an adult, I'm assuming. And even if you're not an adult, you're a kid, you can still choose to not have that conversation. Honestly, the best place to sit at Thanksgiving? It's actually the kids' table. The best place to ever sit in Thanksgiving is the kids' table. And the reason I say that is because you can actually have really good conversations about nothing with amazing people. And I'm talking about the kids. That's what you can do. That's the table I would want to sit at. So maybe choose that one. Maybe choose the kids' table. Hey, Devin, I've been working the same 9-to-5 job for a few years, and honestly, I'm burnt out. I've been thinking about quitting and traveling for a while and see the world, but I'm worried I'm worried it's a reckless decision, especially with bills to pay. Is it crazy to throw caution into the wind, or should I follow my gut and take the leap? So here's the thing, okay? When it comes to traveling the world, that is my dream. That is something that my wife and I are going to be doing once all the kids are out of the house. We've done minor traveling with the kids here, but it's mainly been in the U.S. I've actually, the first time I ever went out of the country was this past year when I was filming that TV show when we filmed it up in Canada. So that's the furthest I've ever been. Was just our neighbor to the north. I met some amazing people up there, which is, I love it. There's that. But the thing is, to quit your 9-to-5 job could be something that would be considered reckless. Depends on your bills. If you live, I'd say most likely, if you live pretty much debt free, let's lay it out this way. If you just have a cell phone bill, and then you say you currently have rent, if your lease is almost done, you don't have to renew the lease. So if you say you got 2 or 3 more months left on your lease, that gives you plenty of time to stash a crap ton of money, right? Or if you need more money, then renew your lease and wait another year. Now that's kind of sucky because then you're like, okay, well, then you're adding another whole new year to working at your job. But either way, say you have a lot of money set to the side. If you don't have a lease on your place, you don't have a house payment, don't have any of that, and you just have, say, a car payment. Maybe you don't even have a car payment. Maybe you got a leased car, or maybe you just take those little scooters and you take public transportation. So if you got no major ties other than like a cell phone bill, dude, what's holding you back? And if you got money, anyone can travel for a living and actually make money in traveling. Create a new Instagram page, create a website, do all that stuff and start posting. Start writing blogs about it. Hitchhike from one place to another. Do whatever it takes. Jump on be a hobo on a train. Boy, that'd be kind of cool, be a hobo on a train. But, I mean, seriously, there's a million things that you can do. Now, that being said, if you are in debt, then yes, I would say do not travel. Get yourself out of debt. Get yourself where you're in a good place so you're not just throwing caution to the wind. You know, make sure you have your ducks in a row. And there's nothing wrong with taking the leap, but you have to put some thought into it. Get yourself a piece of paper or a book and start writing out pros and cons. Write out all your bills, write out all that stuff just to figure out if you can do it. And honestly, if it makes sense to do it, I'm going to tell you, you should do it. Simple as that. Hey, Devin, I've been the nice person at my work, but I think it's backfiring. People expect me to help them with every little thing, and it's starting to feel like I'm being taken advantage of. Can you be too nice at work? And how do I start saying no without coming across as rude? So if you're the nice person at the work, I'm going to say my hat's off to you, and I applaud you on that one, because there's a lot of jerks in business these days. And if you can be the nice person, there's nothing wrong with being a nice person. Now, you do have to set boundaries, and you should set boundaries. And to set boundaries when it comes to being a nice person at work, you just say, okay, I can't help you right now, but let me finish up this project and then I can help you. So you have to use terminology like that. Let me finish this project and I can come help you. Because what happens is, being the nice person, you're probably going to get set up to get more promotions because you're willing to help other people. You're willing to help them with their projects and get their stuff done. As long as your work is getting done, I say that's no problem. Be the nice person. But also slowly start putting boundaries up. Say, no, I can't get to it right now, but I'll be glad to help you a little bit later if you want to do that. So, because you need to be number one priority when it comes to your job. But by doing what you're doing, you're going to set yourself up for success, like major success. We're talking raises and commissions and whatever else you can think of. You're setting yourself up for it because you're willing to put in the work. Hey, Devin, my partner recently got really into fitness, like really into fitness. They're at the gym every day, counting every calorie and talking about workouts nonstop. I'm happy they're passionate about something, but it's starting to take over our entire relationship. Is there a way to address this without sounding unsupportive? I think at probably one point in your life, you were probably obsessed with something too. So take that into account. Think about your obsessions. And how did you act? And then how did that make you feel when people told you you should stop, right? What I would do, talk to your partner, and why don't you join them? You may not be into fitness as much as they are, but you can say, "Hey, I would like to join you, but I know you're a step further ahead of me. I'm not saying I want to be in that location, but maybe I can go with you." So then that gives you something that you can talk about in common. But then also because you're there with them, they'll see that you're there, and I can pretty much tell you that they'll not talk about it as much because they're talking with you about it in front of each other. And then you can start bringing up other things. I'm a firm believer in doing things with your significant other all day long. And if you can do that and make it work, it'll work. Now, if you don't want to go to the gym, and you don't want to talk about it, say, "Hey, can we say we talk about the gym a lot, and I do support you in doing it, but can we talk about other things?" I mean, if they get offended, say, "I'm not meaning to hurt your feelings, but it seems like that's all we talk about nowadays." And then they'll get upset probably, but be direct. Directness is not a problem. It's actually a good thing. So yeah. Hey, Devin, I'm planning my wedding, and honestly, I'm shocked at how expensive everything is. Venues, catering, even the flowers. It's all adding up way faster than I expected. Why are weddings overpriced? And do you have any tips on how to save without sacrificing the big day? Well, when it comes to the big day, I'm probably the worst person to ask when it comes to advice on weddings. Okay. And the reason I say that is because I eloped. My wife and I, we ran away when we got married. And when we ran away and got married, that meant our wedding budget went to zero, which my father-in-law, he scored on that one because he didn't have to pay a dime. So, yeah. Now, the only advice that I can give you is think about what's the most important thing when it comes to the marriage. Is it about the venue? Is it about the flowers? Is it about the $10,000 dress? Is it about the rings? Is it about any of that stuff? In reality, when it comes to a wedding, it is only about you two. It's not about your in-laws. It's not about the cake. It's not about your parents. It's not about your siblings. It's not about what the bridesmaids are going to look like, because when that's all said and done, no one cares about that. What really matters most is how long you guys are going to be married, which hopefully is going to be for as long as you live, or further, depends on where you are in religion. The bottom line when it comes to it is only about you two. You guys are what matters when it comes to the wedding. That's the bottom line. So if you can take into account that the wedding is not about all the stuff, it's not about the bells and not about the whistles and not about all that stuff. It's all about just you two making commitments to each other and God and working it out. Then you'll realize what really matters. And then honestly, you're going to save yourself some cash. Find out what is most important and then step down and say, what do we really need to have? It should be an amazing day for you. It should be awesome because it is a big day because you've committed to each other and you're doing something that's awesome. But in the end, when it's all said and done and the day is over, it's just about you two. It's not about anything else, not about any other person that showed up at the wedding. It's not about your best friend that flew in 20 hours just to see you guys get married. It's about you and your husband or you and your wife. That's what it's about. Hey, Devin, I've always known I didn't want kids, but lately everyone around me has been asking when I'm going to settle down and start a family. I feel like there's a lot of pressure to have kids, but I don't want it to hurt. I feel like there's a lot of pressure to have kids, but I don't want to see in my future. But I don't. What does that say? All right, let me start over. Wow. Hey, Devin, I've always known I didn't want kids, but lately everyone around me has been asking when I'm going to settle down and start a family. I feel like there's a lot of pressure to have kids, but I just don't see it in my future. Is it wrong to not want kids, or am I just against the grain? So when it comes to having kids, it is a lot of work. It is hard. It is very frustrating. It is nightmares, but it is one of the most amazing things that you possibly could do. Now, I'm not telling you should have kids. I think that some people were probably meant not to have children. No, I take that back. I think most everyone should have kids. But if you make the decision to not have children, that decision is on you, because you have an understanding of it is expensive. It is going to be a headache. It is going to be very difficult. It's going to be very hard. But in the end, it will work out. Now, it is no one else's business when you decide to have a kid, or if you ever have a kid. That is your business and your business alone. It is yours and your spouse's. That is all the only people that matter. And especially when it comes to that financial decision, because honestly, having children becomes a financial decision, and because you have to pay for them. Unless you're some kind of a low life that doesn't want to pay for their kids and just doing it because you just want to have a sheer one night of fun, right? But the reality is, don't feel ashamed for following through with what you decide to do. It is your choice. It is your call. I do think it's sad, because I think the people who don't want to have kids, typically, most of those people turn out to be some of the best people for kids, and they make some of the best parents out there. But if you decide to not have kids, again, it's your decision. It's not your parents', it's no one else's decision. River says, Elon Musk said it best. My kids did not choose to be born. I chose to have them. They owe me nothing. I owe them everything. It's true. It's true. That being said, doesn't mean that you need to pay for your kids to live forever. There does come a point when if you teach and raise up kids to be good people in society, that you turn around and you do train them to be successful. That's our jobs as parents, is to teach our kids to be successful in everything they do, and to not give up, and to work through any hardships and make it happen. That's our job as parents. But I will tell you, it is rewarding, but it is expensive and it is hard. That is the reality. I've got 5 children, and their personalities differ by all walks of life. And they have some similarities, but their personalities are different to almost the extremes in many cases. And I love every one of them, and they're all amazing. Seriously, my kids, even when they get mad at me, I still love them, and they're still amazing. That's it. So don't worry about what people say. Focus on you. And if it comes down to that time you're going to do it, do it. If it comes down to time you never do it, don't do it. It's your call. Hey, Devin, I have this friend who turns everything into a competition, whether it's sports, work, or even small things like cooking. They hate to be the best. Oh, they have to be the best at everything. It's exhausting. How do I handle someone who always is trying to one up me without ruining our relationship? Let them win. Seriously. Someone wants to make a competition about everything, just let them win. Rivers says, gosh, I hate those guys. Yeah. The thing is, just let them win. Because then who are they competing against? If you don't compete with them, if you don't compete against them, and they're like, ooh, I beat you doing this. Say, okay. Seriously. I think you're overthinking it and making it harder than it should be. Just let them win. If you don't like making it into a competition, don't make it a competition. Sit back and let them try to make a competition by themselves. Because honestly, those people that try to make everything a competition, they're trying to prove to themselves about something. So they're not trying to prove to you that they're better than you. They're just trying to prove to themselves that they can do something. Because a lot of those people did not have that much going on in their life, or they were always the kid that was left out of things, or they were chose last when it came to playing games on the playground. Just let them do it. Don't try to change it. And you can ask them, you could ask them, say, hey, why do you try to make everything a competition? And then they'll give you some excuse or some reason why they do it, and that'll still never change it. So I say, just let them win. Move on from it. It's okay. It's not going to be a problem. Let them do their thing. You do their thing, and you be happy for them. I guarantee if you were happy for them because they won every time, they would be blown away, but then they'd also stop doing it. Because then they feel like there's no one else to compete against because you always let them win. Yeah. Hey, Devin, I've noticed a pattern in my friendships. Somehow I always end up becoming friends with people who thrive on drama. They're consistently in some sort of chaotic situation, and I get dragged into it. Why do I keep attracting drama queens, and how do I break free of this cycle? Because you probably are one yourself. That's the reality here. You're probably one yourself. So, and I'm not meaning that to be rude, but the reality is that if you're going to be a drama queen yourself, and you don't like it, then you need to change it. And to change it means you just got to go in and just not do it. Not get involved in that type of stuff. Don't allow them to be part of it. Move on. Seriously. And as far as attracting those people, birds of a feather. You know, that's the old saying, birds of a feather flock together. How are you doing, my friend? I tried to add you, but it didn't let me add you for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah, birds of a feather. If you attract drama, stop getting involved in it. If people want to pull you in, walk away. You don't have to be involved in it. Yeah, and so I don't. That's just it's a choice. Everything in our life is a choice, and if we choose to be in the drama, then we're going to be in the drama. If we choose not to be in the drama, we'll not be in the drama. Everything in life is a choice. So if you don't like it, then choose not to be in it. All right, here we go. Next one says, hey, Devin, my partner is frugal, and while I get that it's good to save money sometimes, it feels it's good to save money. Sometimes it feels like they take it too far. Like we always have to eat at the cheapest places and skip things I'd like to do because they don't want to spend. Am I too picky, or are we just too cheap? Or are they just too cheap? How do I bring it up without sounding shallow? There is a thing to be too cheap, right? So My wife and I will go on date nights, and some date nights were the cheapest date nights you'd ever get, right? Like the other day we went on a date day where we went and, we were like, hey, let's just go wash the car. Like this was our date. No joke. We went and washed the car. So it was the, those spray and wash places. I went to the spray and wash place and I washed the car. She helped me, washed everything from the mats to everything you can think of. We washed it all. And then we're like, hey, In-N-Out Burger's right behind us. And so we went to In-N-Out, and then, I got 6 burger patties with cheese. So I got a 6x6 basically. No bun because I'm doing carnivore. There's that. And people are like, oh man, you're going to die from heat. It's not going to kill me. Trust me. So we did that. And then we went grocery shopping. That was our date. Some people would say that's cheap. Cheap dates are good. Now, what you should do is tell your partner, say, hey, do we have any extra cash? And they'll say, yeah, well, we have this, whatever it is, right? We got an extra couple $100, right? Say, let's do something. Bring it up this way. Let's do something amazing tonight. Let's go against the grain a little bit and let's save some money. Sounds good, my friend. You have a good evening. Be safe. I appreciate you jumping on, and you can get all this stuff. You can watch the rest of the stuff later if you want to. It's all your call. But again, I appreciate you jumping on here. Everybody, River's about to exit the building, or exit the chat, should I say? Till we see you again, my friend. Go enjoy, and have a good night. So, but again, bring it up. It's not going to sound shallow by saying, hey, let's do something that's not like us more normally, and let's go out to this restaurant. Pick a restaurant that's a little bit more expensive, and do it. Just make the suggestion, and just to see what happens. Because if you suggest it and then you say, I would like to do this, because we don't do this that often, then you do it, and then it'll happen. It'll be good. Hey, Devin, my kids spend a lot of time on their devices, and I'm starting to wonder if it's too much. They're always on their phones or tablets, and it feels like I can't get them to engage in anything else. Should I be worried about their screen time, or is this just how kids are these days? Here's the thing. You do need to be worried about their screen time. Screen time is important. Too much screen time is bad for people. Too much screen time can alter personalities. Too much screen time can alter opinions, because it depends on what they're watching. So screen time is important. Even as adults, screen time is important. So I would say no, and this is what we try to do here in our house. We don't allow phones at the table. Actually, once 10 o'clock hits, apparently at 10 o'clock at night, there's no social media, nobody. Actually, there's no streaming of anything from 10 o'clock to at night on. On the weekends, they can do whatever they want, but we do limit it. You got to find the happy medium when it comes to kids, and I'll say when it comes to people in general, adults as well. We should be limiting what we do on our phones and our tablets and our computers. I mean, I stare at a screen majority of my day, and that's bad. So I've got to go in and I'm working on changing habits, and I've done some good changes since December of last year when I turned off notifications and things like that. And so the reality is, set healthy habits, put limits on things. You can go into your phone if you have parental controls, and you can limit what they can do, and you can limit them to how much time they have. And if you don't, then you're going to end up raising some brats that are just going to be yelling and screaming because they don't have what they want. You can make some exceptions on the occasional thing, because they may follow someone on Instagram or YouTube or whatever, and that they want to watch their brand new video when it drops, right? You can make some exceptions, but there is a good give and take. So as a parent, my opinion is you are the parent. You set the rules, and your kids need to follow. And I get it. People say, well, I just let my children figure their things out. Well, you're an idiot. Children need to have boundaries. And if you set boundaries with your children will be happier. If you put your okay. So years ago, my wife, and between each one of her siblings, there's 10 years. So my wife essentially was an only child until she was 10. Then she had a little brother. And then when her little sister came around, it was another 10 years. So my wife is 20 years older than her little sister. Her mom would not put her little sister on a schedule, even when she was a baby. So when she was a baby, she would literally go to bed whenever her mom decided she could go to bed. And essentially, I told her, I said, your sister needs to be on a schedule. Her life will be better. She'll be happier. She'll cry less if she's on a schedule. So my wife told my mother-in-law that in a way that scared my mother-in-law. And then all of a sudden, once she got her on a schedule, that opened up so much more time for everybody to do things. It's the same thing with social media and kids and screen time and kids and screen time as adults. If you put limitations and you set boundaries, you'll see huge changes in their lives. Their lives will be better, and their lives will be happier. And then, compared to some of the emails we got earlier, they're from the addictive side of it all to the comparing yourself. Their lives will be way better. Hey, Devin, one of my closest friends won the lottery recently, and ever since then, they've been acting totally different. It's like they're suddenly too good for the rest of us, and everything they talk about is certainly around their money. How do I handle this without causing a huge rift in our friendship? Money changes people. It always has, always will. People will say it doesn't, but it does. Money does change people. So if your friend won the lottery and everything has to consist of the lottery money and their winnings, one thing you need to do is just wait till they're broke again. Be their friends and then wait till they're broke, but then be willing to deal with them, complain about how they're broke now because they won the lottery. Now they're broke. Honestly, it does change people. So you can't expect people to be the same. Now on the other side, as a person is a lottery winner, if they can manage their money and they can do it the right way, what happens is they will change. But then also part of what happens to them is everybody wants something from them. So when you win the lottery, you're gonna see that you have 10 million more friends than you used to have because everybody wants something, some piece of it, because everybody can easily justify how their life should be different and should be better because that money that person won. When in reality, if your friend won the lottery, that's your friend's money. That's not your money. That is your friend's money. So it will change people. Getting lots of money can change people. So what you got to do is just not let it bother you. Don't let it take over who you think you are, who you think they are. Just support your friend, and if you don't like how they act, don't associate with them as much. And then if they ask you why you don't talk to them much or you don't associate with them much, say, listen, ever since you won all this money, you've become a little bit different. And I don't mean that to be rude, but you've become a little bit different. So I want what we used to have, but with the benefits of you having money. So there's that. I mean, it comes down to the conversation. You got to be willing to have the conversation. And if you're not willing to have the conversation, then nothing will ever change. Hey, Devin, I'm in my mid-20s and still living with my parents because let's face it, it's way cheaper than getting out on my own place. But now I'm starting to feel like I need more independence. Should I move out even though it'll be more expensive? Or is it smart to keep saving while I can? That's up to you. That's a question that's up to you. You can live with your parents, as long as they'll let you live at your parents' house. You can save a crap ton of money. And if you're actually legitimately stashing the cash and you're setting that money to the side to build for the future, whether it's to buy a house, whether it's to whatever you're trying to do to get going. I mean, you can do that. It's not, I don't really see a huge problem with it other than the fact that you can be a little bit of a financial drain to your parents. So maybe you should help your parents out a little bit. Now, if they're super independently wealthy, that's cool on them. And if they don't mind continue to pay for you, fine. Who cares? But if they're not, then maybe you should help out a little bit. Now, on the other side, moving out on your own is awesome. You have your own place. You can do your own thing. You can have your own friends over. You can live your life however you want. It's the rules of the house are your rules of the house. They don't become the rules of your parents' house. It becomes your rules. Now, you may want to implement some of those rules that your parents have for your friends, and that's fine because that just sets boundaries up. But, I mean, they both have their pros and cons. But my opinion is, depends upon what your end result goal is. And if your parents don't mind you staying there, and honestly have the real conversation with them and ask them if they would like you to move out. Because if you did move out, your life could be even more amazing. But then you do have to be more responsible because you will have more bills. So when there's more bills, then you just got to figure out, oh crap, what do I got to do? How can I survive? But you can figure it out. It can be done. Anything can be figured out. What's that old saying that I heard years ago? Everything is figure outable. So there you go. Everything is figure outable. Hey, Devin, I love my spouse, but sometimes I just want time to myself. I've been feeling guilty about needing personal space, though, because I don't want them. Oh, man, my eyes are going crazy tonight. All right. Hey, Devin, I love my spouse, but sometimes I just want time to myself. I've been feeling guilty about needing personal space, though, because I don't want them to think I don't enjoy being around them. Is it selfish to want some alone time, or is it normal, or is this normal in a marriage? Everybody needs to have time to recharge. When my wife gets grouchy or I've irritated her enough throughout the day, then I have to leave her alone. And being alone is fine. Having alone time is fine. Having that time where she can, both her and I can pull in our thoughts for the day and figure out what we're going to do. There is nothing wrong with that. I think it's kind of healthy. Now, if you enjoy being alone all the time, then you probably should rethink some of that, because you should spend time with your spouse, because you got married for a reason, because you liked them. And so you didn't get married because you want to be alone all the time. You married them because you like them and you want to be around them. So there's that. So just have a conversation and ask them, say, hey, does it bother you that I like some alone time? And they'll probably just tell you how they feel, and that's fine. Embrace how they feel about it, and you can embrace, they can embrace how you feel about it, and then just find a happy medium. Again, it's just all about talking and getting to the bottom line of things and going from there. Anything can be done. You just got to talk about it. Don't stress over it. It'll be fine. Hey, Devin, I work in a field that's starting to use AI more and more. And honestly, I'm worried that eventually I'll be replaced by a machine. Everyone keeps saying AI is the future, but where does that leave the rest of us? Should I be updating my resume and learning new skills, or am I overthinking this? You need to be updating your resume and you need to be learning new skills, because AI is going nowhere. AI is here to stay. AI is going to take over a lot of people's jobs, and people are going to get upset about it, and they're going to be mad, and they're going to say, well, I never saw this coming. When yes, you did. That's the nature of all business. Business changes. Business and hopefully it changes for the better. And honestly, I do believe AI does help you for the better. There's a lot of things that I do that I let AI do now that I used to do. Like even some of my video editing, I let AI handle some of the video editing. I don't do all of it. Thank goodness. Seriously. So you need to be learning new skills. You need to be going in and learning about AI for one. If you learn to program AI, you actually are going to be set for a job for a while. And then if you have good hands-on skills on one thing, and then you have good skills on AI, and then you literally set yourself up where you have a great job in the future for anything that you want to do. But yes, your job is probably going to be replaced by a machine, as in a lot of jobs. I mean, the tractor came around, and that put horses out of a job. Seriously. Horses used to be how they plowed the fields. Now they put a diesel engine on a tractor and they put that PTO and they're done. They pull the anything behind the tractor and they plow the field. The disc harrows to the whatever. So that put people out of a job. So those people had to learn a new skill from riding. We're working the oxen and the horse or whatever it was, or mule or whatever they used to work their farm. They learned a new skill, which was honestly become a mechanic to work on the tractor. So yes, you 100% should continue your education even after AI, just to see, because things are going to change no matter what. Yeah, simple as that. Hey, Devin, I've noticed that my siblings always seem to be in some kind of unspoken competition to win over my parents' approval. Who's going to be the best? Who's got the best job? Who's the favorite? That kind of thing. It's exhausting to be around. How do I stay out of it without looking like I don't care about my family? So I see my kids do this sometimes. Like I hear my kids say things like, I'm going to be the most wealthy out of all the siblings. Or like my youngest will say stuff like, I know I'm mom and dad's favorite. That happens in every family, especially if you have multiple kids and and it's always going to happen. Now, you can stay out of it, and that doesn't mean that you don't care about your family. It just means you just don't want to be involved. So what's it matter? Who cares? I'm number 6 of 7 kids. Let me tell you, I did the same thing. Although I did know I am the favorite out of all my siblings. So there's that. But that's okay. It is what it is, right? No, I mean, the thing is, there's always going to be competitions. Even when I went back for my mom's funeral, there was still the little jabs and the competitions that were done silent but not so silent. And I'm the guy that just stayed out of it. I'm where you are. And me staying out of it doesn't mean that I didn't want to be involved. It meant that I just stayed out of it. I let them say what they want to say. I let them do what they want to do. And I just did my thing too. Doesn't mean my love for them is different or anything. It just means I just stayed out of it. So don't feel bad for wanting to stay out of it, because honestly, it is exhausting to feel like that you always have to compete against something or someone. I mean, it's frustrating too. So it'll be okay. Don't worry. Don't stress. It will be fine. Hey, Devin, I have this coworker who constantly overshares about their personal life. And while I try to be polite, it's really starting to get uncomfortable. How do I politely tell them I don't need to hear all the details of their latest drama without making things awkward at work? Okay. You don't have to be friends with people you work with. You don't have to like the people that you work with. You don't have to associate with the people you work with. You're always going to have that person that overshares all the time. It's going to happen. It is one of those things. It is part of the casualty, if you will, or what you have to deal with when you go to work. Now, the cool thing is, when you leave work, you can leave that at work. You don't have to take it home. Now, if you don't want to hear it and you don't want to deal with it, then tell them, say, you know what? I don't have time. I don't have time for your drama today. And yes, they'll take that offensively. And yes, they may get upset. But guess what? It's okay. You don't have to deal with everybody's drama. You don't have to even like the things they say. Again, you don't have to be friends with people that you work with. Now, it can help. It can be nice to be friends with those people, but you don't have to like it. And being that it's making you uncomfortable, you should just say, hey, I don't have time for this today. I got lots of things to do. And they'll leave you alone. That's how that works. It's okay. Hey, Devin. I have this friend who constantly borrows money, but they never seem to pay it back. I don't want to ruin the friendship, but it's starting to feel like they're taking advantage of me. Should I cut them off, or is there a nicer way to handle this? If you got a friend that keeps borrowing but never pays back, why are you loaning? Here's the thing I learned many years ago. Never give out what you're not willing to lose. So if you're willing to loan out $5, never expect to get that money back. Now, if it does come back, surprise, awesome, you won, right? But if you have a friend that all they do is borrow and they never pay anything back, sure, never loan money out to them again. Say, I can't do it today. And then they ask you again, saying, I can't do it again. Honestly, the best suggestion is never loan anything out. Ever. Because it can end wrong. And then if you never loan anything out, or you limit what you do on when it comes to those things, then you'll always be okay. You again, always be willing. Never loan anything out that you're not willing to lose. Always have yourself covered with what you want to do in how you want to do things. Hey, Devin, I've never been big on social media, and I don't really use it. But lately, I feel like I'm missing out on everything. Friends, updates, events, even the latest trends. Should I jump on the bandwagon and start using social media? Or is it better to keep my distance from all the online chaos? Whatever chaos you would decide to invite in your life is the chaos you're going to have. Choosing to use social media as an outlet to bring up drama and cause issues with people, that's the wrong way to do it. Honestly, you're probably a happier person not being on social media. But on the other side, are you missing out on things? Sure, you're not seeing the updates from your friends on places they go. You're not seeing photos and things that people tag you in, and not seeing all these thousands of reels and TikToks that people send all the time just because they think it's awesome. Sure, you're missing out on that stuff. But if you don't really care about it, then you don't need to worry about it. It'll be fine. You can live without it. It's no big deal. But if you think you should do it, download it, try it out for a little bit, and then get rid of it if you don't like it. But if you like it, keep it going. But again, limit it to what you want to do. All right. Hey, Devin. My partner is a night owl, and I'm an early bird. How do I we have complete opposite sleep schedules, and it's starting to affect how much time we spend together. I love them, but I'm starting to wonder if it's a deal breaker in the long run. Can a relationship survive with such different sleep habits? If he works nights or you work nights and you work days and he works nights, whatever it is, whichever one it works, you're doing it for financial purposes and financial gain, I'm sure, right? Unless one of you guys are just staying up late playing games and then doing nothing. So if you're doing it for financial freedom, if you will, I'll go ahead and use that term. If you're doing it so you can get financial freedom, then it can work. Now, because guys have set a goal and you're working yourself to do it. Now, one thing for sure, in any relationship, you do need to spend time together. You need to spend as much time together as you do spend apart, to be honest. Time together is probably, you can't get back time. It's one of those things that you'll always regret not spending the time with someone versus doing the thing that you thought you wanted to do. So if you want to have a good relationship with your spouse and you feel like you're drifting apart, then you need to figure out how to intermingle the time, even though you do have opposite schedules. So to solve that, maybe somebody needs to make a change. Now, I do know night shifts do pay more than day shifts, and I'm not saying that you should whoever's working night should go to a day shift. All I'm saying is figure out the happy medium in the mix of it all, and then it will work. Figure out where you need to go, what you need to do, how you need to work it, put all the bits and pieces cogs in place. And once you get that done, then just remember you're doing this for yourselves and you're doing this to make your relationship that much better. So again, just remember what the big picture is. And if the big picture is you guys and not the said item that you're having to buy, figure out how to make your life better and do it together. That's my opinion. Because you'll never regret spending the time together. Anyway, I appreciate it, and I'm going to get off of this thing and let you guys go. All I can say is thank you guys for everything you do. Thank you for being part of the live stream. Thank you for sharing the live stream. Thank you for being part of my wonderful little world that I live in and sharing my thoughts when it comes to all the different emails and text messages and communication that people send me. I appreciate y'all being part of that, being part of that whole world that I've slowly started to create. So anyway, thank you. And I'll talk to you guys later.